your bi-weekly source for what we think about news. I'm your host, Troy, barely holding this ship together. I'm joined, of course, by the lovely Sarah.
What's up?
Thank you. And we have two very special guests here from the BCS and BCX, the Brawlhalla Championship Series casting. We have Duke and Sparky. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
I just realized you didn't green screen my background, so now there's just this awkward
I
curtain.
I did tell you I was not going to green screen you. I was not going to put that effort into
No,
this.
you didn't. You didn't say anything. You're green screened.
Well,
he absolutely said it.
I absolutely said it twice. I'm like, I'm not going to green screen you guys because it's a bitch and a half to do in OBS Studio, I have to say.
Well, at least get your hat straight. It's crooked.
Is
it's going
it,
too much to your right.
Too much to my right? Okay. So, obviously, Sarah and I are dressing the part that Duke and Sparky did not dress here tonight, but tend to on their game casts. The straight business look. Hopefully, I'm pulling off a good Sparky. Sparky doesn't think I'm pulling off a good Sparky, but
you're not.
I know. I tried. I look like a 12-year-old in his first suit. I feel like with the glasses. I think it's the glasses that throw the whole thing off, and the fact that I look like a child. But yeah. So we're gonna talk with.
Hey, Troy.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, there was a hiccup. I wanted to make sure I wasn't behind this whole time, so it froze for a second. Hi.
Hey. Good. So you don't get to make me worried like this. It's.
Well, no, it froze, and I was like, shit. What if I'm 3 seconds behind, and every time I talk, I'm interrupting someone? Because that'd be very rude to Duke and Sparky.
That would be very.
This is their show.
Creed gets mad when I derail his stuff for even a second, but this is happening just completely, and I guess this is normal. I love it.
It's organic.
This is actually totally normal. So let's get into you guys. We know you guys from the Brawlhalla community, I suppose, watching you guys on the competitive streams and casting. Why don't you guys talk a little bit about how you guys got into game casting itself?
Duke, you just say it because I don't actually remember the story.
I was gonna ask you because last time I did the story and then you got upset that I didn't leave anything for you to say. So let's see. I guess I'll kind of talk about myself and how I kind of got into casting first. Is way back when we used to play this game called Smite. It's this third-person MOBA, super awesome, really cool, and we found it very interesting and exciting. And I wanted to get into kind of more the casting side. I recognize that I'm not a very strong player a lot of times, and I don't have the competitive drive to be number one. So I still want to be involved in esports and casting, and I like talking. So why not be a caster? So I used to cast for Smite. I tried it out. It would be mostly just on my personal stream, and it was fun. And it was I guess something, I don't know. If you go find the old VODs, it was probably awful.
We casted Smite were so bad.
It was probably awful, to be completely honest. It was probably awful. And then that more or less died. But then we got into Brawlhalla, and both Sparky and I both really enjoyed it, and we were like, this is a really fun game, and we want to do something more with it. And at the time, there wasn't a really big 2v2 scene, so we were like, why not? We like playing 2v2s. We like that team aspect, and let's just do a 2v2 tournament, cast it, and see what happens. And that's how we started Friendly Fire, which was our first kind of tournament series. We did Friendly Fire. We had a bunch of tournaments along inside of that with Friendly Fire, and I think we had some mini tournaments. From there, I started doing some casting for crew battles. So JV4 would be like, hey, we're gonna be crew battling these guys. Why don't you cast it? And I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. And then eventually that led into BCS, which I guess I'll leave some room for Sparky to talk about things.
It was so we did the 2v2 stuff, and then I'm not going to say it was shortly after that because it wasn't it was right after. That kind of ended in sort of the end of 2015. And then the beginning of 2016, we were just kind of throwing out ideas. Duke originally came up with the idea of let's have a small bite-sized chunk of a season, because we can't have a long month to month thing going on. We're just going to kind of have this experiment where you can play every week, and that builds and builds and builds until the end of the season, having an actual kind of championship thing. So we're just kind of throwing around ideas for that, whether it should be 1v1, whether it should be 2v2, how the point system would work, because we originally actually had a point system, which was nixed for this season, God bless, because it makes everything much more simple. But basically for the month of April of this year, we came up with the basic version of what you see today with the BCS, where it was a weekly tournament. Was it 4 weeks of competition and then the championship, or was it 3 and then the championship?
I think it was 4 weeks and then the championship at the very end. So essentially what happened was, yeah, we had the point system where each week players would gain points, and then on the 5th week was our grand finals, and the top, I think it was like 16 players of points ended up being invited to that 16-man tournament where it was like the top 16 of the entire thing, and it was supposed to be super hype, and it was a lot of fun. But I'll let you continue on.
Yeah, and so basically it built from there, and just talking back and forth, seeing how we could entice people to join this, ways that we could make it valuable. So maybe, I'm going to miss this week of playing. How can I catch up for next week? How can we have it so people can not have to necessarily devote every single Saturday of an entire month to playing in it, and just tossing ideas around? And eventually that solidified with BCS. We had the graphics that you see today. They've been tweaked a little bit since then, but that's where we came up with the initial analyst desk that we had, and it's basically the junior version of what you see today.
It's very cool.
Don't want to discount the fact that White Sheepy helped throughout the entirety of this. She's been our behind the scenes person for Friendly Fire and anything in between, all the way into BCS, and she's constantly been behind the scenes helping organize and plan things out as well.
Behind every great man, there's a woman doing everything.
That is 100% true of this podcast as well.
Come on, Troy. We can gang up on
yes.
Sarah. It's 3
Yes.
boys.
It's 3v1.
We got to squad up and rep it. Come on,
would
dude.
think that would be the case, but I have to live with her the rest of the time, unfortunately. So you guys really kind of built this all outside of the Brawlhalla official channels. I mean, what was it like building basically a community up from really, as you said, not many kind of competitive streams or competitive tournaments?
It was weird because a lot of the stuff with Brawlhalla has really kind of started in the community. Like Raven started as a community member. He's now hired. Tybo started as a community member. Foda started as a community member. So much of the things here, like all of the initial tournaments, were from the community, and that really was what kind of started the initial esports scene that has been built up from there. Duke, if you want to continue.
Yeah, it was interesting from our perspective. I think both Sparky and I kind of had a history within the competitive community. We both streamers. We would have kind of competitive people come in and talk, and we kind of built this relationship with the players ourselves. And then ultimately, like through Friendly Fire was really our foot in the door. Friendly Fire, we were like, all right, hey, we're going to put up a tournament. We're going to put up our own money. And then that kind of got our names out there. And people were like, hey, Friendly Fire, it's run well. These guys kind of have their head on their shoulders with it. And they're like, casting is reasonably okay or whatever. Like, we'll give them more shots. And that's kind of how it built on itself, is just like, we put ourselves out there. And then every time we did something, we kind of made it better. And worked with the community to be like, hey, what did we do? What did y'all like? What didn't y'all like? How can we make our next thing better?
And really, at the point in the early inception of, I guess, quote unquote Brawlhalla esports, there really weren't hardly any tournaments very often because it was all community driven. Prize pools, they were low because it was people putting their own money up out of their own pocket, and that was kind of rough in the beginning. Like we were the biggest prize pool I think to date with our first tournament. What was it? Was it $300?
Yeah, at the time, our first, I think it was something like $300 was the biggest prize pool, and then obviously at this point that's been blown out of the water. But at the time, it was something a bit unheard of in the community to have a $300 prize pool.
Yeah, and it was these tournaments that would happen few and far between. Prize pools were sometimes there, sometimes they weren't. So there was just no real like steady tournament scene that people could have from week to week. And that's another goal that we had with the initial BCS, is we wanted something that happened week to week, that people didn't have to wait months and months to see this flash in the pan and then just kind of twiddle their thumbs the rest of the time.
Did you guys ever expect this to get to where it was today in terms of having the game developers back your cause and continue to support it and promote it so it continue to grow?
I would say that was kind of maybe a little bit of our goal, but that was more like a pipe dream that we had. Like, oh, yo, let's do this and let's really try our best at it so that maybe we can be involved with it. But mostly it was just like, we just want to do this at the time now, and let's just see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, essentially, what he said. It was just, we kind of wanted to do it, see what happened, hope that we can get some sort of following or backing or something. But at the end of the day, we understood that it was us kind of putting ourselves out there and, you know, assuming the risks and hoping that it worked out for the best.
And now you guys are going into BCX. I mean, one of the, like, you know, company-backed kind of event. I mean, that must be kind of a huge step for you guys to build up to that, I would assume.
It's weird because it almost still seems like it's far away. I'm still ridiculously excited for it. Like every time anybody even mentions it, like today, Dobrain, I think, raised the funds for him to be able to come to BCX.
Nice.
And I'm so excited for that. But it's weird because we still have, like, we have these week-to-week Saturday tournaments, and that's sort of consuming everything right now. And it's like I don't have enough excitement to go around until we get a little bit closer to BCX, because I'm hyped for the EU 2v2 this weekend, and that's the next thing, and then there's a thing after that, and then after that, and then after that, and then after that, and it's just this building mountain of excitement and hype.
Sure, that's totally. I mean, it creeps up on you. I feel like it's probably, you won't realize it until it's, you know, right up on you that it'll be time to get on the big, you know, the big stage, kind of, so to speak. Cycling back though, what do you guys do to prepare for something like one of your Saturday tournaments? Like, is there a lot of prep that goes into just casting a fighting game in general, or even just Brawlhalla?
Duke, you want to take that one?
Okay, so there's a lot. So obviously you have to understand, with any sort of casting, you have to understand the game at a reasonable level. Bare minimum, our first casting started with us like understanding what the moves in the game are. My personal opinion, there's a lot of casters out there who rather than kind of understand the game, they'll just interpret the game in their own sense of the words. So rather than say like Bodvar neutral sig with the hammer, they'll just go, oh, the bear, and that has its own excitingness to it. But
it's kind of a John Madden approach, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just throwing out words.
There's definitely a lot of different ways to go about it, but from my personal perspective, I want to know the game at a high enough level that if I'm trying to talk about like, oh, the spear versus sword matchup, it's very difficult for the sword. I want to be able to make my argument, be able to state why it's a bad matchup for the sword, and talk about what are ways that sword can kind of mitigate that difficulty. So that's kind of the general day-to-day, week-to-week that I'm going through. It's a lot of playing the game, talking to high-level players, and being like, all right, what do you guys think of the current state of, you know, Qatar's and how it struggles in certain matchups, and what is your current opinions on maps, and why is Great Hall a good map for swords, things like that. And then when it comes down to it, a lot of it is kind of built on itself. So like Sparky and I are the dedicated NA tournament or dedicated NA casters as frequently as we are physically capable. We will always do NA, and that helps because we get to kind of really get to know how, you know, Jellyfish plays, and we get to talk about, you know, last week Jellyfish, you know, he did really well in the 2v2 with Arkosh, but ultimately, you know, some things went wrong. They got caught out in black holes, whatever. So it kind of builds on itself in that sense as well.
It's I think it comes down to a lot of research in terms of specifically the actual game itself, but then there's this entire sphere of what's going on with the players, because so many people determine what's good in the game and what's best in the game differently. Arkosh will say something about the game, Pugsy will disagree with it, Daiku will disagree with it, Dobrain will disagree with that, and there's a million opinions on so many aspects of the game at any given time. And it's a lot of research of talking with the players as well, and just seeing their opinions on things, what they're doing currently. People switch mains somewhat regularly. A new character comes out every 5 weeks. You have to keep up with that, how that character fits into the meta. Whenever there's new weapon combinations, new stat combinations, it's a lot of research, not only within the game, but also with the players themselves.
So what about more of the, like, you know, interpersonal type things? Obviously, like I noticed when I was watching you guys, at least Duke, you were casting on Monday for Brawl League, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was Monday Night Brawl.
Monday Night Brawl, which I noticed you guys, besides BCS, do a lot of other things. Like, for example, there was casting for the big streamer event as well. There's a lot of like kind of interpersonal things you have to do with your caster to make it a successful team, because obviously there's teams for casters and analysts. How do you guys build up that rapport and that strategy of approaching the streaming presence to make it an entertaining event no matter what you guys say?
I mean, with me and Duke specifically, like we've been friends for like 5 years now.
Something like that.
Oh, we get
yeah,
it. You're
it's been a
best
while.
friends. Yeah.
Oh no, we're
No.
not.
He's got his best friend is back now, right?
I was wondering if you were gonna bring up my good friend Robert, but no. So basically, Duke and I, our rapport started like 5 years ago when we met in college, and the way we keep up our rapport is like I read Duke just the way that Duke reads me. We're both just really really good friends, and so when we're casting, it's almost it's a more formal version of if we were just like sitting on the couch watching something together.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that we know how the other one kind of talks and thinks, and we can kind of just bounce off each other very naturally, and it helps that we can essentially have a conversation but also be very vocal about like what's happening and kind of understand that our conversation is a little bit directed at an audience. But yeah.
And then aside from that, like, because originally we kind of mixed up the casting duos in sort of in the beginning, it would be like Duke and TWK for a week, and then Duke and Tazza, and then me and Tazza, and then me and Duke, and me and TWK, and it would be just kind of this rotating cast of casters, and you just kind of built up the relationship over time, just talking with them. Just chatting with them over and over, joking, memeing together, playing games, stuff like that. It's just building up a friendly relationship that then carries over into the casting space.
How important is memeing together?
Very. Number one.
So the best way to become friends with a person is to drop the memes.
Absolutely. Like
Okay.
that's just the way the world works now. Like cash rules everything around me, and so do memes.
Okay. Good to know.
So the casters who meme together stay together, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, it's actually really awesome to watch you guys, you and casters in general, video game and fighting casters, coming from like a sports perspective. Like I watch a lot of sports where these guys are throwing out backstories and kind of storylines to athletes that I see a lot of parallels with your guys' presentation. It's interesting to see that kind of more growing in the esports kind of industry, if you will. Like Duke, like you mentioned, like throwing out why, how a player did the weeks before and how they're doing today, and maybe the difficulties they face is no different than throwing out like a team that performed badly the week before. It's really cool to see that kind of build up over time.
I think that's really cool with like fighting games in general, because if you look at like MOBAs or like first person shooter esports, there are a lot of teams. Mm-hmm. But with fighting games, it's pretty much the one person against one other person, or with 2v2s, two people against two people. And so you really get to delve into like the actual player themselves, and there are a lot of other variables that you can just completely turn off. So like recently, Egg Soup was like crazy sick in the past in a 2v2. So he was like taking medication, and at one point like he messaged me and said, I make sure Pugsy checks us in because the medication, I might oversleep and I might miss check-ins. And so that's just another part of the story that is unique to Egg Soup and unique to that one player individually.
Right. Yeah. And something else you guys mentioned, you guys are the main casters for the North America team. So that I would assume are multiple other kind of teams running the other kind of regions. Do you see a lot of differences in play between, is it regional? Is it kind of what players are on the field? Like, is it, how varied is kind of the regional split?
There's a lot of variance in regions. So like one thing that I'll Sparky and I kind of point out a lot with NA is NA loves the sword. there's a lot of NA players who are in love with a certain weapon set, and in particular, it's generally the sword. Whenever we go over to EU, because like Sparky was saying, for a while we kind of did a rotation. Whenever I would watch an EU tournament, it would be a lot different. There's a lot more Lance. Lance is almost not played in NA, but in EU, Lance is up there. Qatar's got a lot more love inside the EU. When we went over to Australia to watch the Australian regional qualifier, we saw a lot of very aggressive gunplay, and that was really interesting to see. So whenever we go to a different region and watch that region's play style, there are differences in play style, but a lot of it is simplified into weapon set, I think. But I don't know, Spike, do you have more?
Yeah, it was really cool because originally everybody kind of played the same. And it was no matter what tournament you were in, everybody played Bodvar. And a lot of the tournaments until BCS were not necessarily region locked. So you had EU people playing in tournaments that were hosted on US East servers. And so you saw like top 8. I don't want to call it necessarily boring, but it was whitewashed isn't the word. I call it Bodvar washed. But there were so many Bodvars in every single game. And throughout the evolution of the metagame itself, the regions, specifically NA and EU, have really started to like get their own unique identity, similar to like a lot of other esports. NA and EU tend to play very, very differently, and I've loved to see that come to fruition with the Brawlhalla metagame.
Why do you think that is? Do you guys have a theory to why those regions are so different in playstyle?
I honestly have no clue. Like I actually don't it probably has something to do with some weird culture stuff. I honestly have no clue though, and I think it's insanely interesting how that works.
I think it's partly the players pushing their own metas, because like I was talking about Lance in the EU meta, and whenever I talk about Lance, my instinct is to talk about Lance, because Lance has basically forced Lance upon everyone that he plays against. He refuses to get rid of the weapon, and so having someone who's kind of stubborn and really wants to play that weapon ends up making it so it's a little bit more prominent inside of that region. I'm not saying that Lance specifically is the whole reason why all of EU Lance gets played in EU, but having somebody who's like pushing that weapon set, pushing that meta, and saying like, look, you don't have to only play sword in order to be successful, kind of gives other people confidence to go, okay, well, maybe I will try out this weapon. He's kind of beating me with it. I'll see what happens when I play it. Oh, I like it, or oh, I don't like it, but it gives me like credence to try something else out instead.
Very interesting. Yeah, and it's something I've always noticed. Like it's crazy. You guys chat on like there's so many variables between just players themselves. I never thought that would be so varied across regions, and that like regional divide would be so crazy. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about BCX itself as an event. So as you guys mentioned, they're bringing together the top players from around the world. What is that? I guess what does that mean for?
God damn it, Sparky!
What?
What?
I'm sorry to dislodge this. Sparky fucking every time he does any sort of raffle in BCS, he always wins. And of course, I'm doing the raffle for CCs, which you can enter with !raffle in the chat right now. He wins.
Of course.
Hey, man.
Sparky, no.
I'm lucky, all right?
Sparky, please. Sorry, derailed.
That's all right.
I apologize.
So no, like I was saying, let's chat a little bit about BCX itself. I guess what are you guys most excited for? Are there matchups you guys are excited for, or just the event in general? Maybe let's dial it back and talk about what the event is first, if some people don't know what it is already.
It's basically going to be like the grandest stage of them all for the world of Brawlhalla esports, and pretty much everybody in general. Like just the things that BMG have told us about BCX, it's just there's going to be something for literally everybody there. First of all, of course, you're going to be able to play the game. Probably in every direction, there's going to be some way to actually play the game with just random people around you.
Right.
There's going to be stuff for Snow Brawl. There's going to be Brawl Ball. There's going to be Bomb Skip Ball. There's going to be like real cupcakes that you can have and put in your face.
Cupcakes.
There's going to be just everybody there from the community. And I can tell you, I've never been more excited in my life to hang out with a bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds, to be quite honest.
Do you think, because they keep saying
Creepy.
this, do you think it's actually going to be that young of an audience at the end of the day? Oh, jeez.
Well,
I think there's gonna be a significant portion of it. I'm hoping that when something happens in a city, the people that live in that city take part in it regardless of their stake in it. So if they've never heard of Brawlhalla, they might just go because it's going to be flames. But a significant portion of it, because Brawlhalla is free to play, it's accessible by everybody. So Brawlhalla tends to have a slightly younger audience.
Well, not to mention that a lot of the top competitors are pretty young. And I know if I was going into a tournament and I was like, you know, if I was Boomy or whoever, I would be inviting my friends if possible. I mean, like, yeah, come check me out, come watch me like try to dominate this stuff. So I think it will kind of trend the age a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
So I have a question too, kind of going back to our conversation about the different regions. I know we're still talking about that, but I wanted to think about it before I forgot it.
Thanks for jumping
So
in.
yeah, of course. So everyone's going to be coming to this event. We have the top competitors who won all of those regional qualifiers. How do you think that's going to shake up how people play when they're facing all of these different play styles and weapon expectations? Like, what are some big things you think people who are competing need to worry about when they have all of these different changes coming in?
I think they specifically, the word you said is change, because anything can absolutely change in an instant. We have new characters coming out every 5 weeks. I know people are liking Dragon right now. Who knows if we'll have a Dragon main between now and BCX. We've already seen people pick up Koji, a newer character. I think is there going to be a new weapon before
Val,
BCX?
You're going to ignore that Val is like
there were competitive players playing Val like the week she came out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Egg Soup won the regional qualifier with Val.
Yeah.
I think weapon we'll see, but I know BCX lands around the time the next legend might release too. So, and we saw the core event, a qualifier where a bunch of core people played, and he released that week, and they were doing well. So
it's just going to be shaking up everything that your opponent can come to expect, because I mean, other than BCS, because everything happens over the internet, there aren't LAN events that you can go and scope out who your opponent is playing that week. If you're not friends with them on Steam to be able to like scout their ranked games, then from week to week you really have no idea what your opponent is playing. And I think that's really going to work to like Tiger from Southeast Asia. That's going to work for Kyler Alice from Australia. That's going to work for Kroots from South America, because they're not the players playing in the NA and EU tournaments week to week. The most of what we've seen from them was in the regional qualifier. So they could be playing completely different play style, completely different characters, completely different weapon sets from anything that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think the weapon sets is going to be a kind of a critical thing. It's about knowing your matchups, because obviously, like we were saying, each region kind of has their own style and preferred weapon systems and whatnot. And if you are used to only playing against people in your region and with that one play style, then you're not going to be ready for what the quote unquote foreigners are going to be bringing to the table. And we saw essentially that happen when Zaloxry came over for Combo Breaker and ended up winning it out. And I want to say there was a level of it that people just weren't expecting his Ember to be as effective as it was inside of that venue on LAN, So I think it's going to come down to understanding the game at its core and understanding those matchups and who's actually going to know how to play against everything.
And that's also the thing, is it's going to be a LAN. Everything so far has been online. You're in the comfort of your own home. The air conditioning is set the way you like it. You might be in your pajamas. You might be just in your underwear. Everything is in a nice, friendly environment. But at LAN, you're sitting across from your opponent who can look you in the eye, who can mind game you in the game, out of the game, who can just get in your head when you're in the bathroom. And it's just this completely different level that people really haven't had to deal with yet, and they're gonna have to significantly deal with that when it comes to LAN.
And you said they're young
audience.
too.
Yeah, also the audience is gonna be there. Before I actually fought with Creed in our LAN money match, I was legitimately playing games with like a YouTube video of crowd noises just going off. Of course, there were like maybe 15 or 20 people there, but I had a crowd noise cranked up raucous in my ear to prepare myself for that.
Yeah, and you said that if it's a young group, they might have a lot of like the performance too. Like it might be nervous. Nerves is very effective if you're young, if you haven't gotten used to the type of thing. it could affect them in ways that they don't expect because they're not at home only listening to the game. They have cameras on them. It's their face. I mean, it's a big deal, and it's $50,000.
Yeah, LAN is a completely different animal, and BCX is going to be a completely different animal than anything that anybody has dealt with so far.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. I'm sure a lot of these top players probably have never played in that kind of environment before. So that'll be interesting to see how they how they adapt, if they adapt, or if they kind of maybe we'll see a new champion arise from it, from the lower ranks based on performance on stage, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that's if also BCX is running what is it, November 11th through the 13th in Atlanta. You can buy your tickets online, brawlhalla.com/BCX.
There's going to be a lot to do, even if you don't compete. I mean, everyone who gets buys a badge can actually compete in this tournament. So those people who qualified, you're going to have to fight them. I mean, they're not automatic winners. So everyone has a chance at that. So you could just practice on your couch and then show up and just whoop everyone's butt.
Even if you don't care a lick about esports, like it's going to be a blast. I can't actually wait to just meet everybody and hang out with everybody and get meals with them and hang out around Atlanta and play board games and just other stuff, because the community is fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is probably probably one of the first events, Brawlhalla centric events, I would imagine, of this definitely of this size, but even is this one of the big first kind of LAN tournaments for Brawlhalla specifically?
Well, that they're hosting.
There was Combo Breaker, which was a LAN, but I mean technically it was Brawlhalla at another big fighting games tournament. They just had a LAN at Battle and Brew, which I think had a reasonable turnout.
Yeah.
And then this is going to be the next one, and then I know they're already talking about other ones as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think definitely too, one thing we missed is that it's going to be a great opportunity also to meet the devs. Is that I know a lot of people see the devs because they do a great job streaming. As Brawlhalla fans, you probably see them on their weekly, 3 times a week Twitch stream. Actually being able to meet and hang out with devs, we all got a chance to support them at RTX. You guys have done it more than we have. It's just a really fun group, them and the community. If you're not sure, you're not that confident being a player, I know at least everyone's gonna make it a great time. It's just gonna be a great time to be there, watch the game, have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll all be there. Maybe not Troy, but
I will hopefully be there. We'll
Troy,
see.
what the heck, dude?
Well, I gotta get time off work. I gotta get to Atlanta. There's a lot of.
I already talked to him. It's fine. I think I bought a Rock Band DLC pack. It's fine. I'll just tell him.
you cover my vacation time with that.
Yeah, I got you, dude. Don't
worry. I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I guess do you guys have maybe any advice for somebody wanting to get into casting in general, or getting into kind of the Brawlhalla community? Is there anything they should do to kind of warm themselves up for that kind of environment?
Just do it. Just 100%. Just go and do it. Set your mind to it. Do it. Plan a little bit. Just go do it. Because that's essentially what Duke and I did. We were completely new to the scene when we started Friendly Fire, and everybody was more than receptive. At first, we didn't even know if the community would accept us as casters. Originally, we were just gonna have Raven cast it, because he was kind of the cast daddy at the moment, and we were afraid that they wouldn't accept us coming in and talking about the game that they'd been playing for so long. And so we went out there and did it, and everybody welcomed us with open arms. You have to take a risk and you have to try it. People are reasonably forgiving. You can mess up pretty hard and people are still going to forgive you. So just go out and do it.
Okay.
I think your experience is not the same that I see anymore. If you want to just be a part of the community, I would say that 100% what Sparky said is true. Just go be a part of the community. Go watch Twitch streams. Go talk to people. Lurking is... I'm a lurker all through and through when it comes to Twitch streams, but if you're trying to, get your name out there and kind of feel like a part of a community, lurking isn't really going to help you. Just go and talk, tweet at people, and just go do it. But when it comes to casting, I think it's a lot harder now. There's a lot of kind of already established tournaments. And if you mess up at this point, I think a lot of people aren't forgiving. Case in point, there was one major mess up by way of tournaments recently that was very noticeable on the subreddit. and it got a lot of bad publicity for the.
I think that one. If you're talking about the one that's like literally the most extreme case of you being terrible at what you're doing. That wasn't just like ignorance of like not necessarily knowing how to run a tournament. That was kind of completely shooting yourself in the foot, cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Oh, that one.
That was like actively ruining a tournament. But what I'm saying is, this might sound very cynical, and maybe it's my own perspective of the fact that I don't really watch a whole lot of other tournaments. But aside from like the top 3, a lot of tournaments don't really grow. They don't really get established. They can't really make it. And a lot of times they don't really get a big viewership or player turnout. Like if you were Joe Blow of Clan Johnny and you're trying to have Johnny's tournament and it's Johnny's 1v1 strikeout tournament. Like, I wish you the best of luck, but unless you have something to make your tournament stand out, it's going to be difficult. But if you keep doing it, it's definitely going to end up working out eventually, I think. Because I mean, that's one of the big things that happened with Gravy Cancel is they were persistent. Yep. Gravy Cancel did it every Sunday, and then they eventually started doing every Saturday and Sunday, and then started doing Mondays as well. I think they're persistent, and obviously it helps that they had a dedicated team, dedicated caster in Taza, and they've taken a break recently. But the reason that Gravy Cancel is big is because they were persistent. So go do it but make sure you do it right, but also be persistent and understand that it's not going to be easy. You're not going to just suddenly be the next big caster.
And manage your expectations. You can't just go in and have Billy's tournament and expect 10,000 people to come out, everybody to absolutely 100% love you, go tweet about it all the time, this and that. Like, you do have to put some effort into it, but to a degree, you get out of it what you put in. And as long as you manage your expectations and, like you said, like, keep doing it. Don't just have a tournament once and be like, all right, I'm a tournament organizer now. Cool. I don't ever have to do anything ever again. We had that one. It was great. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it.
Yeah, keep moving on it. Yeah.
Oh, God damn it, Sparky.
How'd you win again, Sparky?
Oh, God. Okay, cool.
I didn't even enter again.
Can you roll
I didn't
again?
reset it.
Okay, good. There you go.
Arnie here. Congrats, ECC.
Thank you.
Sparky, the
That's
curse
messed up.
continues. Or the
That's
luck.
messed
I
up.
don't know which one.
It's a blessing.
I guess so.
Rigged.
So
Yeah, kind of, I guess, just to play off that too, your answers are pretty typical for anyone who wants to be good at Brawlhalla or be the top streamer or be whatever. The internet is saturated. So whatever you want to do, don't expect to be the best in the beginning. Don't strive to be the best in the beginning. I don't know. Did you guys practice doing recordings of yourself in the beginning when you were casting, or did you do anything that wasn't officially live for the first time? What kind of strategies did you guys do to practice or to train that
Honestly,
people could do?
I don't think in the very, very beginning, I don't think we did. Did we do anything?
No, so when we first started, our practice was like smite casting, and then to me personally, my practice was like the casual tournaments, the clan battles where there wasn't as big of a expectation as far as casting goes. But together, Sparky and I didn't really have a lot of we're gonna do offline practice casting together until recently, when we really wanted to step up our casting game, where we've been practicing almost every week for a while, and really just working at making sure we are a very clean casting team.
Yeah, you guys are hard to book, from what I
are-
understand.
You are very difficult to get a hold of. You guys are always preparing. I think the last time we tried to have you guys on, you were both preparing for a big BCS stream that weekend, which was I actually ended up watching that one. It was very, very good. So you guys definitely.
You actually ended up watching that one. Are you not
Wow.
watching?
Well, I watched.
He doesn't watch
so-
any of them.
No,
How
I
many
watched
GlitchFeed videos have you watched?
What's that?
How many GlitchFeed videos have you guys watched?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not on trial here, okay?
Uh-huh. No, I remember I'd asked you guys to be on it, and you guys were both busy, and I was like, well, all right, well, I'll see what all the fuss is about on this one, since they're preparing on a Wednesday for a cast on a Friday or a Saturday. So it was actually a very good good stream. It was worth seemed like it was worth the warm up, the practice.
Oh,
well
thanks,
put together.
Aw.
So moving away from kind of BCS and BCX and your guys is kind of rolling it. Brawlhalla did just release a big patch today with a new hero, the dragon dude.
New legend.
New legend.
Thank you,
That's
Sarah.
it.
I heard you say it too. Good job.
Yeah, my bad. What are you guys' takes on the new? How is this going to shake up the meta? Are you? Where are you guys at with this one?
I haven't personally played Dragon yet. I saw that Dobrin and Daiku were messing around with them today when the patch hit. I think the meta in EU has shifted a lot to Katars and Axe, which those are the two weapons that Ragnar has, and I think that's going to cater to them a lot. Also, the stats of 5665, I think those are just solid, middle of the road, great stats. I would not be surprised if we saw it this weekend in 2v2s. I would not be surprised if we saw it going forward somewhat regularly in 1v1.
Interesting. And
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna ruin the meta by any means. Like, it wasn't a huge balance patch. Honestly, like the biggest thing that came out of it, aside from the new character, is the new Q, in my opinion. That 1v1 test Q is gonna be very interesting to see who plays it and what information BMG gets out of it.
I'm going to play it because I can tell you that I queue things more than I play customs, at least at this moment, because usually when I play, it's at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
When most people are not online. And so I don't really feel like queuing casual strikeout. I don't really feel like queuing rank sometimes. So I'm definitely going to queue that for now. I'm just going to mess around. I'm going to have fun with it. And it'll be exactly that. It'll be test.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I jump into the queues, I think 99% of the time because I don't have any friends.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, that's mostly the reason.
I know you asked Duke if he could 2v2, and he said no.
Yeah, Duke, you blew me off on that, man.
That's messed up.
I'm one of the best players in
play a lot of
Brawlhalla.
2v2 anymore, to be completely honest. I don't play 2v2 in general.
You're missing one of
Duke,
the best players in the league right now.
Duke, you had an interesting personal stream yesterday. Just something interesting that stood out to me is the whole ranked crunch and how some people that are arguably really good don't necessarily play ranked. I mean, is that just that they don't like grinding through that? Is that something that you see is common? Like, that was curious to me.
So my general opinion of ranked is that most people play it for the badge more than the practice. A lot of the top players have gotten to the point where they don't need ranked to practice. They grind ranked so that they can be Dobrain and have 3k ELO. They grind ranked so they can be Boomy and be the first person to get Diamond or the first person of US East. They do it for the badge more so than the practice. But everyone below that top tier, they do it because they want to feel like they're doing that. They want to feel accomplished. But I feel like there's a fair number of people who grind ranked, care so much about the ELO that they're willing to kind of cheese it out and just go for whatever it takes to win the ELO. And that stuff generally just doesn't work in tournament. It doesn't exist.
That's why I stopped queuing ranked pretty much once I hit Diamond, because I'm not in the level of where I'm gonna queue into Dobrain or queue into Daiku. Even if they are queuing, I'm not gonna queue into Boomy. I'm not gonna queue into people who are fun to play against. And if I'm not having fun doing something, I'm probably not gonna do it. So then I'll try to get customs every now and then. Like I have customs with Boomy, and even though he wipes the floor with me, he is fun to play against. Dobrain is fun to play against. So those are the games that I tend to go for over queuing ranked. But like I said earlier, sometimes when it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, those people aren't up. So I have to queue ranked. And some games are fantastic. I absolutely adore the way the other person plays. I may lose, but it's a blast. Mm-hmm. Other times, the game is a complete struggle, and it's the least fun I've ever had doing anything ever. And even if I win, even if I get a ton of ELO off of it, I just necessarily don't enjoy it because of the way the person plays.
Do you think the new updates to the season, like the rewards, are helping make it a little bit more valuable for people besides the top ranks, or is that still something that? Because I mean, like that new color is pretty nice. Skyforce.
I hate.
Super sexy.
The rewards make me want to grind ranked because I'm that kind of a person where I want things that I can earn through my own effort. But at the same time, like, if anyone's ever watched me play ranked, they know that it is dragging my face through a puddle of glass. Like, it is painful to a T. It is not pleasant, but I want those rewards.
You were doing push-ups yesterday.
I was salty. and I had to put that energy into something.
Are you Crocky now?
I didn't know he did that. I didn't realize that Crocky had like the monopoly on doing push-ups when you're salty, but apparently that's the thing.
I mean, he's one of the notable salt machines in ranked. I don't know if he's been doing them recently, but there was a time when I can't remember if he did it when he lost. But he I think he specifically did push-ups. Maybe it was jumping jacks too. I can't remember.
It's a good way to get buff, especially when you're shitty at Brawlhalla like I am.
I never lose.
Oh,
so.
that's the
Wow.
trick.
You wanna bust out that elo? Let's do I need to go to
Your boy's still in goal. Let's
the
go.
ranking page?
Haven't been grinding very much since the reset.
So what? This is probably a dumb question, but what do you guys main? What are your guys' like? Your big guys. What are your mains?
I'm in Vrax, sort of. I've been playing a lot of Diana lately. I've been starting to actually a little bit learn how to play bow. I mostly like guns more than anything. I also play a handful of Barraza when I'm salty, because I think that having that defense stat, that's the one critical thing that I need to win. Of course, that's not actually true. I need to actually be good at the game.
Yep.
But I'll also play a little bit of Roland when I'm getting salty, and I know that how free sword can be sometimes. And that's pretty much it. Also Lucian, because the Napoleon Lucian skin is the best looking skin in the game. I still don't understand why everybody hates it, because it's incredible.
I don't know that Rocksteady Toro skin. Thank you.
Tauros. Right.
Yeah, I know. I said it.
You're gonna upset
I was
Duke.
stumbling over it in my head. I'm like, no, it's not that one. It's not Tauros. It's not Tauros. It's the other one.
I'm playing Pokemon Go.
No, I have been playing Pokemon Yellow, but that's another story.
Oh,
I just caught a Tauros yesterday.
oh good for you. Congrats.
Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, that's totally my favorite skin. It's so
Duke,
perfect.
what about you?
Yeah, Duke, what about you?
I'm a Taros main at I guess like at the end of the day. That's who I'll default to. I generally say I'm an Axe main, but I don't like most of the other Axe characters. I'm really liking Hammer right now. I'm kind of like Sparky, where like I'll jump around if I'm not really feeling it. So I played Taros to Diamond last season, and then like I didn't really want to play Taros for a little while, so I jumped around. Roland was free. I like Nash because his hammer's pretty good. Cassidy's hammer's broken, so I kind of just mix around with like characters who either I think are fun, or characters that kind of have similar weapon sets. So I'll mess around with Bryn, but kind of just throw away the spear every single time. Same thing goes with Azoth. I'll just throw away the bow and play Axe on Azoth. But it's mostly Taros when I'm like try-harding, I guess.
Got it. Awesome. I think that's. Is there anything else you have for Brawlhalla related before we jump into just general these guys chat?
Play the game. It's lit.
Okay. Sarah, anything?
That's a great question, Sparky. Where'd you find it?
Fade McKay just won our last CC code. Congrats.
There you go.
GG.
Wow.
Oh, part of the creed. Do you guys have anything you want to say to part of the edge card?
You're not even good at the game.
This was like directed to, like, hey, do you want to take this moment to like talk crap about part of the creed because it's a different
Always.
podcast?
He is in
We'll
chat. by
always
the way.
take that moment.
That's why I figured. I was like, he is here, so why not, right?
Might as well
Creed
call
is
him
a
out.
stink boy, and he ain't nothing.
Oh,
I love Creed. Creed hates me, and I love giving Creed crap, but Creed takes crap the best out of anyone I've ever met.
He
so I
really,
love Creed.
really does.
didn't he beat you, Sparky, that one time we were playing, and when you guys had a money match? Didn't have
No, he lost that
When we-
money match. You
When
drunk.
we had a money match,
Drunk.
no, I won the money match.
What
When we
was
had
that
to
one?
Hey, let's have a best of 3. Yeah, I lost that because there wasn't anything on the line. It didn't even matter to me.
Wow. There you go. Enough said. Let's
Sarah,
talk about
you wanna-
other games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to message that CC code while I'm chatting with these guys?
Yeah, I fucking will.
I'm
Okay.
working on it. You have
When
all
are you gonna
the
message
things.
me my CC code?
I don't have
Yeah,
them.
are you gonna whisper it to me, or like, can you stop rigging it for Sparky at least?
I don't know.
Yes.
You owe me
took
2.
him out of
I
this
saw my
one.
name in there twice.
Well, you didn't enter the third one.
Hey, I just want to let you know, you guys have my my Twitter handle wrong. I just, in case you're
Do
wondering.
I? No way, really?
He changed it. He changed
I just
it
figured
Changed it like 100 years
figured-
ago.
to his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
What?
He
You
changed like a month
literally
ago.
DM'd me on Twitter last night.
I didn't realize it changed. I just assumed it was the same. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm letting you know, like.
Oh, I feel like shit. I'm sorry, dude. Like that's just how I. Oh, I am
Okay, guys.
licking my kicking myself.
I have a question for you while Troy feels terrible. What were your guys' like most early memory in terms of a game that got you into video games? Like what was that one game that got you into video games?
D2. Diablo 2 was like my first real big like game that I would play like the crap out of. I have earlier memories of like I was really into Pokemon and like all these other games that Sparky hated. Like my brother, I have an older brother. He's like 7 years older. I completely forgot the number. He's 7 years older than me.
That much older than you?
Yeah. And
I didn't know he
so
was that much older than you.
So like it helps that he was older than me, and so he like he had a Super Nintendo, so I'd play whatever Super Nintendo game. He got a Sega Genesis, I'd play whatever Sega Genesis games he had. We got a Dreamcast together. I'd play the crap out of Power Stone and like Sonic Adventures too. And then like it just kind of progressed from there. But D2 was always like the first real like I really was into this game. That's the one that I was like. I will always play D2. I still have that on this computer. Like,
You still stream it, don't you?
occasionally, yeah.
Weren't you gonna speedrun it at one point?
I'm still practicing. I can't get Act 1 in under an hour, and that's until I can do that. I can't like continue on.
There are people who can beat Dark Souls in that time. Why would you waste your time with Diablo? Blech.
There's a speedrunner there's a speedrunner who streams Diablo 2 every morning, and that's basically what I watch every morning right now.
To go ahead and answer your question before I derailed that, it's twofold between Kingdom Hearts, and then before that was Castlevania something or other, Dracula's
Symphony
Curse.
of the Night.
I think it's 3. It's 3 on the Nintendo. I never had like a system until I got the Nintendo, but I got that like really, really late. I got that when
Which Nintendo?
PlayStation, the original Nintendo NES Entertainment System. I got that from my cousin when he got probably a PlayStation 1, and so I didn't really have anything for a very, very long time. So people were playing 3D games, and I was still stuck with my like handful of cartridges, one of which was Castlevania Dracula's Curse, and I played the hell out of that game. I still haven't beaten it because it's so stupid hard. I get to one boss every time. It's a snaky fly skeleton thing, and I legitimately don't know how to beat it. I can look it up, but
Parry.
That's true. That's how you win at Brawlhalla. Cough, Pugsy, cough.
I thought it was throwing.
It's both. Parry and throw. You got to parry with your throws.
Oh, okay. It's a combo.
And you guys both are very, very active streamers outside of BCS and outside of everything. What do you guys like? What do you guys enjoy? Sparky, I've watched enough of your streams to know your life, but Duke, what's your go-to kind of?
He's telling you he doesn't watch you.
No.
It's my boy.
Sparky, I know the answer. No, I know the answer to Sparky's
It's all
already.
Animu
Yeah,
games,
that's
isn't it?
Yeah.
For both of them.
No, I haven't played a waifu game.
Did you play Muv-Luv?
Muv-Luv's the only one I've played,
Muv-Luv.
and I ended up not finishing it because I realized I don't actually do anything in that game. It's a lot of clicking. But I play a lot of. It's literally whatever I feel like. It's Brawlhalla plus whatever I feel like for the day. There was a time where I played StarCraft and I would stream that. I played Red Alert 3 and I streamed that for a while. Right now I'm on that battle right grind with White Sheepy because she can actually run that game. So we'll play that. We played Paladins the other night because it's a game. It's really
game.
whatever I feel like plus Brawlhalla.
What are your feelings on Paladins?
It's free.
Okay. Not as much of the spite.
It's fine. It runs. It's not the worst game in the world. When Paladins first came out, I had a blast with it. Then they did a lot of changes to it that I did not like, and then I came back to it and I was like, oh, this is fun. This is a game, whatever.
I think one of the reasons we weren't super enthused with it when we just recently played it was you're coming into a game that people have been playing. When we got into it in the beginning, it was everybody was more or less starting from square one.
Yeah.
And now it's a game has progressed, a scene has progressed. People know how to play the game. They're not just learning things, and we're just learning things. So every single game we go into, we're getting stomped. And so it's a tough catch up period. And so when we have games that like we understand what's good, and then we go into a game that we have know nothing about and just get bodied, that's not fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the game's fault. That's essentially there's a catch-up period. We don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that's matchmaking's fault.
That's matchmaking's problem. They're the ones putting you in these games with experienced people. I mean, that's the same reason I don't play I can barely play Dota and a lot of those because I'm so far behind. Even the average players are better than me. Well, that's
why I can't play
normal.
CS:GO or CS Source, of course.
Yeah.
So, what games are you guys looking forward to that are releasing later this year, if any?
Our go-to question.
Look, they really have no idea.
Dishonored 2 is
Dishonored 2 is
coming out,
gonna be
right?
so
That's
lit,
supposed to be
dude. Don't
pretty
even act
cool.
like you're excited for that. You hated Dishonored for no reason.
I hated it specifically to bother you. You know that, right? Like,
It was only to
like
get
that
a
was
rise
the
out
only,
of you.
I hated it specifically to have a reason to irk you.
So good.
Let's see, other big
That's it.
games.
Dishonored
A lot of
2.
them were. We have Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah,
Watch Dogs 1 sucked, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did.
Watch Dogs 2
I
is
don't
shaping up
trust-
to be surprisingly better somehow from everything.
Final
Okay.
Fantasy
don't-
15.
Okay.
Well, I heard it was really good. The story was just bland. That was the
Watch
last
Dogs
review
1?
I read.
Or
2.
Watch Dogs 2. Oh.
Like gameplay was good. I mean, it's basically Assassin's Creed in common day. They took all the good stuff about Assassin's Creed and
Assassin's
put it in
Creed
the game.
sucks.
Well, it doesn't.
Well,
But it doesn't.
and it doesn't. Watch Dogs 1 was pretty bland in terms of all the stuff you could do hacking wise and stuff. This
And
one you can actually parkour.
Right, and also Assassin's Creed is a great series.
You know-
so
Y'all know Brink had parkour, right? Like,
Dude,
if you want to talk
shut
about games,
up.
Brink.
yeah, a lot of
You
games
don't
have
like
parkour.
Brink.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Brink was a terrible game.
Oh, okay.
Parkour is not a good enough argument for a game to be good.
How many copies of Brink do you own?
Like 3?
You know, 3 copies of Brink?
One for every system.
Why?
Because 2 of them were free, and one of them it was the first one, and I was like, oh, hey, all right, I want to play Brink. It looked interesting, and
Dude
then
has
it wasn't.
more copies of Brink than the people who made Brink have.
that are available online right now. You have more copies than people are playing the game. Like how people are playing on the servers right now.
These are the
The
3
game of the
concurrent players.
Game of the
Just
year.
all 3 systems.
Um,
Well, what systems do you guys have
Yeah.
right now?
PC.
that's my
Just
that's,
PC?
That's my boy Sparky.
Yeah.
Okay.
PC is the big one.
360.
I have a PS4 and a 360, and a handful of other ones that I don't really touch anymore. But those are the big ones.
Yeah.
No
Someone
Nintendo
said
stuff?
Kingdom Hearts 3 in chat, and that's my boy right there. Because I am also excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 more than anything. That is one of my favorite series of all times. As convoluted and dumb as the story is, I don't actually care even a little bit. I will live for that game. I will die for Kingdom Hearts. And when 3 comes out, I'll probably have to force myself to get a PS4.
It's so weird that you love Kingdom Hearts because it has basically everything that you hate. But
I know it's a stupid dumb
somebody-
anime game. Like I get it, Duke. But I connected with the characters more than any game ever. Kyrie is my girl for life. I will
Right, I
always be
connect
there
with
for her.
Goofy a lot.
Duke, he said that was the game that got him into gaming. Kingdom Hearts. Weren't you listening?
Like
That was his
to
game.
half the things he says.
That
Okay.
was good. That's the first game that I actually learned things about and knew things about and grinded for items. And I don't know why, but I emotionally was attached to every single character in that story.
Did you cry?
Yeah.
Okay. That's true attachment. What about so there's no other big games you're really excited about this year? You kind of just
I don't
No?
actually pay attention to that a lot because things get announced so early that I'll hear about it and then I don't want to wait for it because then the hype builds and when things suck, I don't want to deal with that. Whereas I can be oblivious and then something comes out and it's like, oh, Watch Dogs was garbage. That's fine. I wasn't excited for it. Or something will come out and it'll be the greatest thing ever. I'm trying to think of something that is like that. There's nothing like that because all games suck now.
All
But
games suck.
you guys play Civilization, don't you?
no.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
He
What about golf with
refuses to
friends?
play online anymore.
What about golf
Every
with your
time,
friends? That
dude,
was a
Golf
good
with
game.
Friends is lit. If there is a Golf with Friends 2 coming out this year, that's the game I'm most
I
anticipating.
mean, it's not even. I don't think it's actually even out all the way yet. I mean,
There's still one more map.
That's it. There's only gonna put one more map in that game.
I mean, that's really the only thing they could add. Everything else is perfection.
More golf ball types.
They did. They changed the size. You're not gonna do big or small. Big balls or small balls?
There
Depends
you
on your
go.
preference.
I was waiting for you to go with that.
Yeah, I did it. It's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let's roll a metadev.
I did already, and I don't know how to
Did you?
whisper people.
What the hell?
Sure.
This is
Why would
I
you
said,
whisper?
like-
You don't even have the fucking code.
I do. I got one in front of me right here.
Okay. Jesus
I'll get
Christ,
that
okay.
one. You get the other one, wherever I don't know where he went, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, a game I'm excited for. I don't know if it's actually ever gonna come out, but Red Orchestra 3.
Which is even announced.
Yeah, sort of, a little bit. It's gonna be in Vietnam. I'm
You just
excited
did
for
try.
it. Because I really like Red Orchestra 2 a lot. I think that it did
Wait,
a reasonable
bread
job.
orchestra?
Yeah,
Bread?
red.
So,
The
Red
color
so what?
red.
It's a bunch of bread
Red.
playing instruments?
Red.
Bread.
R-E-D.
Bread.
The color.
Bread.
Roy
Okay,
did
so
it,
bread.
It's the R.
Bread.
Dude,
Red.
Dude, you're hearing it too,
Bread.
right?
Did you guys ever
No,
play
I just
Iron
like griefing.
If Duke
all right.
heard it and you heard it, that means that you're probably wrong because that's what Duke heard, and he
I
has
hear things
terrible
wrong all the time. You don't want to hear what I hear.
And it's not even like, oh, I hear all the right things wrong all the time. No, he literally hears things wrong all of the time.
Battlefield 1 was fun. The demo was fun. I'm probably not gonna get it though, cause stuff.
That's how I
Like
felt
stuff
about
reasons.
when I played Destiny. I was like, Destiny's fun. I played the alpha and the beta. It's fun, and I was like, I'm never gonna want to play this game when I get it. It's just
I
gonna
want to give a
sit.
kudos to Destiny because people are still, for some reason,
Playing
playing
that.
fucking Destiny.
They're
and
making it too.
I don't
They,
even understand.
Yeah,
For
they
PC
just,
only.
They not PC only. They just shifted
Oh.
resources onto
Yeah.
Destiny 2
tried.
with a PC release targeted.
So, Sparky, I heard you're really excited for Skylanders Imaginators.
I'm on board with Skylanders.
It's
Oh,
for
dude,
the
it's all about
360.
Disney Infinity.
It's
I'm
dead.
truly
Rest
on
in
board
peace.
with-
I thought Disney
with
Infinity's
Skylanders.
gone,
It is.
Disney Infinity's
Bango.
better though.
but it's gone.
I was on board with that game too. I thought it looked incredible. If I was not a very poor person and had the system that is required for Disney Infinity, I would have for sure gotten Disney Infinity. I like Disney Infinity. That game is cool. The like free roam like build stuff mode, Toy Box I think it was called. Like that was insane. That was awesome. Like all the amiibos or whatever they were called. Like I'm down with little figurines. Give me all that shit. I love it.
I wanted those figures.
I'm
I hate
100%
that those
on board with that.
were a thing because I wanted all of them.
Sparky, are you an anime figurine collector? Is that your life?
Is that like a descriptor of people?
Are you-
do you do that? Do you have like a little Hatsune Miku on your desk, and that's the only?
You know he hates
Japanese
anime,
thing I know?
right?
No, I
Yeah,
have no
dude,
idea.
I got Kakashi and Watashi from my favorite anime, Code Geass.
I don't know if you're lying or not.
That
Or
would've
those
been
are
close
things.
Do you
to
really not
Naruto
know that?
No, I don't know anything about anime.
You really don't know how I feel about anime.
No, I don't know anything about anime.
It's all garbage.
Exactly.
I would never spend money on a stupid anime figurine. I love figurines, but I would never buy a dumb anime figurine. Never in my life.
Besides, 2D's better than 3D.
2D is better than 3D though. I love waifus. I fucks with anime girls. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
You
that's,
had like a whole strategy too on when you were playing your game. You had like a
you had a
whole
notepad
ranking
document.
system.
You had
Yes.
like you had a
Yeah, I had
continuated
tier
document.
lists, I had notes, I had journal entries. I threw away the napkin that had all my min-max values on it away the other day. Yeah,
You should have framed that.
I should have, but frames are expensive.
So
It's true.
That's why I didn't ask you why you played, what games you played, because the one stream I watched of you, and that's the only stream I'll ever watch, is is your like 6-hour escapade into some military RPG.
You know,
dating
Just
simulator.
Deserts was so
Just-
good.
Just
That's
Deserts.
honestly one of my favorite games of all time.
No, I kid. I watch you guys all the time.
Oh yeah, sure.
I do.
mhm.
No, I really do. I do it when I
Oh, yeah,
can't
no, it's
actually chat, like at work and shit.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, wrapping up, because we're going a little bit. Well, I'm going a little bit long, but who cares? We have you guys, and we like you guys.
You guys want to play games with me
You
sometime?
guys want to play games?
Wanna golf?
You guys want to play some games?
You know, there's like other games than golf with friends. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
You
just
guys want
throwing
to
this
play
out.
Ultimate Chicken Horse?
Or I don't know, like Brawlhalla,
fuck
since
is
we just
that?
talked about Brawlhalla for so long.
Oh my god, no! I'm gonna be terrible.
Well, we'll make them play
Same.
like left-handed or something.
friends.
I don't know. I'm down with
controller?
playing golf with friends. I fucking love golf with friends. I have a blast every time we play golf.
Duke, I promise I won't make terrible rules like I did that one time that make it a
I
terrible
think the worse the rules they are, the better. That's how I feel about it.
game.
That's the only way Duke won. Like, didn't
Yeah.
you get first that round where it was just all the dumbest shit on?
Probably.
When it is a normal golf game with jumping.
With
How
normal-
it
Jumping
should
is
be.
not normal.
Yes, it is.
The
What is
most
it,
normal
pinball?
of golf rules.
I'd play golf in real life if that's how it worked.
If that's how golf worked in
You
real
can
life.
jump in real life.
You can't make the ball jump though. Like that's not something that you can do, unfortunately. All right, so let me end this thing and we'll chat some more and play some games, just on Twitch, not on YouTube. But thank you guys for joining us. Super huge thank you to Sparky and Duke of all of their BCS and casting experience. Thank you guys so much for jumping on and chatting with us. We really appreciate it. Go check them out on their Twitter handles that I've updated. That are now accurate. Also, I assume you guys troll the Brawlhalla subreddit as well if they want to find you guys
Occasionally.
I mean, I don't really see Sparky, but he might have a different screen name.
I don't know.
No, I don't go on that. Oh God, no.
There you go.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
And always, you guys can check us out if you're watching us on Twitch for the first time. Thank you for joining us. We do a daily news series on YouTube, going over gaming news and do a cool little video almost every day of the week. You can check that out at youtube.com/glitchfeed or just going to glitchfeed.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at glitchfeed. You can follow me at tferio and Sarah up above at the Elise. She streams all the time. I talk about her streaming all the time. Thank you guys for joining us. We will be back in a week and a half. No, I'm sorry. 2 weeks from today with another GlitchFeed podcast. I don't know why I said a week and a half. 2 weeks with the GlitchFeed podcast.
And Duke and Sparky, you guys are going to be live again on Saturday for a tournament.
Saturday,
Fantastic.
11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Other time zones are on the internet, and you can look them up as a person.
Or you can meet these two cool cats in person in Atlanta in like 6 weeks.
At
It
BC.
actually
I'm
is
a lot
only
better
6
looking in
weeks.
person. I know that's surprising, but like, come on. I'm gonna step the what do you call it? The clothing game up. I'm gonna crush it, and y'all
Are you
better
going to put
come
on
look at me.
pants? Because we know you don't
Probably-
stream with pants on, right?
Probably
You don't
not.
cast with pants. Okay.
No.
Are you wearing pants right now? I feel like that might be a presumptuous question.
I actually am. Like I can look. I got basketball shorts on. That actually.
Your thighs are
just-
so white.
All right,
I just
thank you guys
went
for
for a
watching. We'll
run
see you guys in
before
2
this.
weeks.